world economist. His journey began here at Gatuyaine Primary School in Odhaya constituency, Nyeri County. Then it was just a nondescript place where children were brought to school by missionaries. It has since evolved. It has a secondary school and a nearby Kenya Medical Training College. I am here in Odhaya constituency to trace the roots of former President Mwai Kibaki through the eyes of his childhood friends. From Gatuyaine village, we embark on a journey to Kiaganda village within Odhaya constituency to meet former President Kibaki's bosom buddy, at least when they were little boys tending to goats and sheep. Meet 96-year-old Joseph Gichigo, an old and frail man. Though his old in age can only speak in Kikuyu language and a little Swahili, Gichigo's memory is still fresh and can recall his heydays when he was a small boy in the early years of the 19th century. We have a sit down with Gichigo, who first tells us he is among the few people remaining in Odhaya who grew up together with Kibaki. Gichigo tells us that they were baptized the same day with Kibaki at Karema Missionary Church, which was run by Catholic missionaries at the time.
Tohe to tika mohore. Eto ne daga kohoro ni tohe. Nani gagiria. Nani todo leamokolo wali kini kole Kibaki.
Before they enrolled in school, their main work was herding goats and sheep, a job that was considered more important than going to school. It took the government's order at the time that required every family to surrender one male child to go to school. It is there and then that Gichigo and Kibaki were enrolled in Gatuyaine Primary School, which at the time had only one structure that served as a classroom.
Nego zakatwa zakaga todo Gatuyaine tukareizia buri la buri ala ukukare twazia hanao tuwaje koreizia utakerewero getwarutaga na maitore na shoshoge makalu wa idio tokazie korea necho tolere amulenya Gatuyaine ne twazomea la Kibaki na tozi twabori utie guoshi ne tozi twabori.
Gichigo says at the time there were no books and pencils, and hence they used to scribble on the sand. To move to the next class depended on how well a pupil knew how to count. Gichigo says Kibaki was an extremely clever pupil and was loved by the teacher more than any other pupil. In fact, Gichigo says Kibaki usually sat close to the teacher.
Nyadeka wakemono na iduele to wako mone ne uka ito o kolezia to gazio na ke to galio domwe kula to magerare ne teli ne toyo to tadika buku o teli bambuku ne teli
Mwadika ka terine
terine Toloma. Alo wagioni nego tarato mete. Tolu areto mete to tuaga. To meigoa. Nego toinaga. To atara kamoe. To na tano. To akinya ikomiri. Mwalimu akarora hau atende ikomi niguo agekera raiti guoko-inĩ gwaku ti buku ni buku ka uoko no wako akandika ao akona akoria te no arora ha ni komi hakura wadike ha te ni taguo o akandika oria mwarimu andikire ne noti ni kamwe wakone tuejiri akandika tueji.
Since he was older and bigger than Kibaki, Gichigo says he used to protect him when he was harassed by the bigger boys. Gichigo says Kibaki was a quiet boy who loved staying alone to study and only mingled with the other boys during soccer. Gichigo, who was playing as a goalkeeper, tells us that Kibaki was swift and fast and hence acted as a striker during football matches.
Kibaki mobirari no ukahalo kuhanyuka na kujiu.
After class 3, Gichigo could not continue with his education, while Kibaki and other students moved to Karema to continue with their studies. Gichigo was being educated by his grandfather, who wanted him not to continue with his education, but concentrate on tending goats and sheep. Gichigo says his father was in Maasai land as Kibaki's father and would come home once in a while. He remembers Kibaki's father supported his son's education and used to pay school fees using tobacco from Maasai land. Gichigo says his grandfather could not afford to cater for his education and hence he concentrated on herding.
Amazomizia na bake aluta alia kwedu kabi mazai uka wagire besha shakuzomizia tolu babare alio kabi ale tamu mazai ale kaloko leu ke bake ne wa agezomizio neize na bakero kuto kabi Wangui akagidi ababa abhorred na gero ne shosho alekero gukagu nekero onalu nekero kwande moyo ne wadekera.
Post Kibaki's primary and secondary education, Gichigo only remembers a fundraiser they conducted to aid Kibaki's education at Makerere University in Uganda during the Maumau armed struggle. Gichigo, who was a fighter by then, says Kibaki associated himself with the struggle, but they encouraged him to study, that one day he would return home and lead them.
Tukihazania besha to Nairobi tukuwani tukumuzomizia tukimwatara na be Kibaki kinyali waku Uganda agezi Makerere uzomera ku Kibaki ede Maumau azomizie tune itue tulaya tu kwa konyuma mu mare Kenyatta ageturi ale eto majera ke Kenyatta agetura tu kunyita rwazaza na nyuma kunyita mateke ukamala tukoboko tulishikwa mkono juu kaiba Kenyatta atakumbukwa sisi leo tukiwa moko igore Tukikwa tutiako ene uguo tuguthie kuona.
Koguo we Kibaki ndananyua muma inywe mukinyua.
Agakunywa niki?
Ni akunyua nake.
Mbeca tũrauta ciake
nĩguo athome
nĩgetha anyue muma. Niĩ ona ũmũthĩ rĩ no mũrata ona ũmũthĩ ona rĩ augire hĩndĩ ĩmwe ndikangaĩke mũno gũthiaga nakũ thiĩ harĩa mũciĩ gwake ndirabatara thiĩ haha Muiga Thũriũ ndĩmũkore o gwake na thigari gũtirĩ itoĩ atĩ ndingĩthiĩ kũu rĩ njuge njĩtagwo ng'ania rĩ thigari nĩ ikũndekereria.
Gichigo, who is in his sunset years, says after Kibaki took over power, they remained the childhood friends they were, and the many memories they shared while young, though fading, were instrumental for their friendship. Gichigo reminisces the good olden days when the Italian teacher told them that Kibaki would become a great leader, and it came to be. Gichigo only wishes if he got an opportunity to be educated, he too would have been a great famous man, just like his childhood friend Emilio Mwai Kibaki.
Tenake ideo na hidi na hidi ya miti dokumikira miti tuikaranirie onkera thigari itikagirie hidi gathio hariwe tuikarania luti imwe ngoko ngigwa atĩrĩ korwo nĩ njũĩ rĩ wĩra wa ũthigari rĩ ndingĩuga ndĩtonya gũkũ.
A few kilometers from Kianganda village in Karema village, where President Kibaki continued with his early education, after the elementary education at Gatuyaini Primary, we arrive at the home of 92-year-old Wangui Kioni, one of the few girls who are privileged to attend school those times. Wangui, a strong-willed woman with a quick grasp and clear recollection of the events of yesteryears, remembers a young Kibaki who was determined to be among the first in acquiring an education in pre-colonial Kenya. Though Kibaki was one class ahead of Wangui, they were taught by the same Italian missionary teacher who was teaching all classes. Wangui says Kibaki was a quiet boy who was loved by the teacher. She recalls that the teacher would confide in them that Kibaki was destined to become a great leader in the future.
Utangĩhota kũmenya nĩ ndihanaga tondũ rĩu ona arutanire mamwendete mũno na nĩguo akĩrĩ mũũgĩ rĩu tondũ ona gwathio harĩa blackboard-inĩ kwandĩkwo rĩ gũkĩrĩkia arĩkirie tene na nĩ wa mbere na ndarĩ subject ya gũbwaga ngĩkĩrwo rĩu nĩrĩo citagĩũkaga gatũra kamwana karĩ haha rĩ gagwĩtwo Emilio Mwaro rĩ ndokũigua ti kĩrathi kĩmwe nĩ arĩa marathoma nao maratwĩra na nĩwe agĩaga mbere agataka mwana kau rĩ kaĩ na ũgĩ mũingĩ mũno tondũ rĩ ona tiga gũcionoka ndingĩkera tondũ ndandĩka handũ ngũkora nĩ arĩkirie maũndũ o ma mbere na maramari tũkiugio maramari ũreko rĩ wa cukuru ũreko wana kũu ndiũĩ wa cukuru rĩ ndĩrĩ mũndũ angĩatuĩkire wa mathako na kana arĩ cukuru ndoya mwana ingĩ nĩ ikũmwĩra ũyũ ndaragia ũguo arĩ mũndũ mwega biũ
ũguo arĩ mũndũ mũhoreri
o ũguo atariĩ na ũguo arĩ.
At Karema, they were no longer scribbling on the sand. The teacher had a blackboard where all students used to write their answers. They still had no books. Wangui says girls at that time were not taught English, and as such, when boys were being taught English, they were being taught girl roles like cooking, sweeping, and performing other roles of young girls in the Kikuyu traditional society.
Wana kwa kinyahiti kurutanwa za ujeti ya Gicunguri nilio twirago tutiara ile twaige rora ile tuana no twakirago riu tugafikira thikingi kurutwo mwana iga guti nilio gwatwikire wari ni kuritukanagiyo tondu tene gutu mbere gutiatukanagio mwana na
Wangui says when Kibaki transferred to Mathari to continue with his early education, all the other girls dropped out of school in class 5 as they were not allowed to study further. She, however, prides in herself that she got a little education and would have possibly been a great leader of Kibaki's stature if she carried on with her studies.
Mwatigire niki
twatigire rere tondu riu guthomo giki turathoma ri ringi na ringi ri gutiari athomi aingi ona ni kuringirwo ni airitu ikwira urathoma giake na nduri kundu wa githii gutira wabici ugathii gutiandikanagwo ara macokire guthoma thutha witu ri nio ayari mari thirikari-ini anene icio ni marekereirio.
Tariu we haku wakinyiria kirathi cigana?
Kirathi kia 5.
Kirathi kia 5. Na hindi yo kinyete 5 we
muthomu tondu ri urakimenya mathabu no kamenya kwandika ritwa riaku ri ni no kandika marua.
Wangui talks of a humble Kibaki who remained close to them. After taking over reins of power, Kibaki never abandoned them and his hometown of Othaya. She shows us this portrait when they last met with Kibaki at a church fundraiser in Othaya. Wangui says Kibaki championed the education of children and supported them in communal activities. Wangui says Kibaki has been a stellar role model to them by inculcating the values of hard work, determination, and honesty.
Pona na hindi rika guku ni ndamuririkanirie ni ukumenya riro risi ati ni ugathana riu ndugathanite miaka iyo ingimwira tondu oka guku ri ni ndetagwo tugathii tukaria nake akinyua cai gathii kuo na thigari itikangirie na iwe kuigua ni mundu ari mwega muno
hihi
kuruta wira uri atwiraga kuruta wira mundu akaruta wira na ugacoka ukenda andu aria angi no kamateithia uguo niguo watu tondu guteithia uguo augaga niguo ekaga na niguo endete andu ni ucio niguo andutie kuruta wira ati ndukehoke mundu na ndukagie guoya ucio mutu wa mbere ni guoya mutu kagie guoya na wende andu aria angi ona handu mundu guteithia mundu kamuteithia kana thina uriku
koguo ni hotete kumuthomithia maundu maingi megie
muturire kwanja muno kwenda andu na tuge wendi wa andu kwi uria mundu eragwo ati eige ukimenya.
The Nigerian says Kibaki was not a man of handouts and not at any given time did he give out money for free without them contributing first during community fundraisers and church harambes. Wangui says the values inculcated to them by Kibaki will live in for the generations to come.
Harambe akaona kambe ile dia kwira kambe no kuno wabiriye icio twamuhoire na tukimuhoya waigwa giuga augaga ndakwenda mundu kigutari aturire mwena kindu mwena kio ni ndimugurira mutari na kindu niki mwena kindu hegi tukimura na tutiari tajogire wala tugetha hindi iyo agicoka akiuga ningumuongerera kuku no ndikaha mundu
atari kindu
kaga mundu kindu atari kindu kana nguruhu kana gutagia irio cia kuria nguhe mbeca ukari apana tumwana tatu twatuikaga ni turo igari thukuru no muhaka thukuru kwetu twatatu gikire augaga mutikarekererie twana tu tondu nituo rucio na nĩguo andũ nĩmakĩmũrũmagĩrĩra wega. Angĩathire handũ one harĩ na mahĩtia no mũhaka nĩakũrũmanĩrĩra nao.
We later have a sit down with President Kibaki's long-serving aide, who also happens to be the chairman of the Democratic Party, the party that propelled Kibaki to power in 2002 in a coalition with other parties that formed the NARC coalition.
To know Mheshimiwa Mwai Kibaki as soon as I joined Kenya Police in 1967. He was MP for Bahati, and in 1974, he moved to Othaya, where he was an MP for a very long time. You know, always a rural constituency is a safer constituency than a numbered constituency, because people grow up, or young people grow up knowing who the MP is. But in urban area, there's a lot of movement of people. Somebody is in one constituency, the following day is in another constituency. So we don't have a track record of the MP. So Mwai Kibaki is remembered in Othaya with a lot of nostalgia, because he led them. He led the Othaya people in every sector of development, every section of development. He was involved.
Esau Kioni describes Kibaki as a development luminary who occurred to Kenyans the time they needed a change the most. Kioni says he was on Kibaki's entourage when he got a life-threatening accident while coming out of campaigns in Machakos in 2002. Kioni, who accompanied Kibaki when he was flown to the United Kingdom, says he has never seen a strong-willed and patriotic Kenyan like President Kibaki.
We spoke with Raila. He said he will continue with the campaign with or without Mwai Kibaki. The football would still continue without the captain. The captain had just been injured and they were waiting for him, which was true. Every morning, I remember when every morning when you were in UK, Raila used to call me at about 9 o'clock. Brief me what to tell the president of the activity the previous day and the day and the activities that were to be engaged for the day, where they had traveled, where they had gone for the campaign in the whole country, and so on. And Kibaki was satisfied. Even in his absence, he was sure things were being run because they were in good hands. Raila and his Kibaki's team, very efficient team. They did the campaign and eventually won. By the time we came back, campaign was through. And people were determined to get rid of the regime then. We had all the goodwill, and Kibaki had all the goodwill of every Kenyan, because they had hope and they wanted a change. People are very eager for a change, and the change was there.
Kioni says Kibaki's simplistic lifestyle and interacting with Kenyans of all walks of life endeared him to many. He praises him as a bold and independent leader who was not swayed by the powers that be. Before assuming power, Kioni remembers him as the only member of parliament who attended J.M. Kariuki's funeral after he was assassinated.
I think he is endowed by God with a love, with a natural attraction for people. His simplistic type of life. He's not the man who shouts at people all over. He's a very social man, close to the people. You see, so people, that's natural attraction. That's what I would say. And every one of us is gifted in one way or the other. You see, Kibaki is no doubt gifted by God in his conduct, his relationship with the people. He's intelligent. He's a very intelligent man. So I got that intelligence. He is endowed by God, and he's got a physique that is attractable to people. You see, and the way of talking, he talks with people. You talk with anybody. Doesn't matter how low that person is. You talk with the intelligence up there. He has that gift from God. He was a very brave man, and he is a man of, if he is determined to do anything, he will follow it up to the end. I remember when J.M. died, he was the only man who attended his funeral. The others never did. I was there. I attended the funeral too in Gichigo. So he had very strong principles. He's a man of very strong principles. No doubt about it. And this is the man. That's the man Kibaki was. If he believed in this, he would follow that to the end. He had a very strong heart to survive. Very strong. And he has that.
The Kibaki's aide goes on to heap praises to a man whom he says would give you a job, but will not be breathing all over you to know how the work is being done. He, however, says he demanded accountability and was never shy to call out government officials who derailed his agenda.
I expect the new ministers and assistant ministers to strictly adhere to a new code of conduct and a management accountability framework.
Kioni mentions Kibaki as a good listener and a man who had the plight of the people, especially in Othaya, close to his heart.
Very easygoing with the rural people. Very easygoing. Yes, well, as I said, he has no segregation, social segregation. When he is this type of class of people, businessmen, they talk business. When he is with the wazee kashro, they talk kashro things. Vile watu walikuwa naishi bereni huko, maisha yao. You see? Any class, he is academicians, you talk with them and he is free to talk with them. Any topic you bring in, you always contribute. You always contribute. So I think that made because of his belief and the way he considered everybody. Your job, you do it. You are not the man who will be there on your shoulders, breathing over your shoulders that you are doing it. But you give you time, you give a job, and you allow you to do the job without interference. But you should not forget one thing, that follow-up. Kibaki was very committed to follow-ups. Akwambia ufanye hii, atakufuata another time. Aone, where did umefika wapi? We agreed this job must be done this way. And he loved small notes in the pocket. Those are the small notes he to take. And when you meet next, you just pull those notebooks, those small notes, those small sheets from his pocket. Aha, na hapa tulifika hapa, na sasa tumefika wapi. And the ministers were aware that once they agree that this is the way to do a thing, they were aware that one day you ask and you follow up and ask you how far you have gone. And that's it. You will not interfere with you. I will remember. Communication, very well improved. You can move anywhere in Othaya with this. Water, kila mahali, iko na maji, tuko na maji. Electricity, every social place is connected to the national grid. Right? Chule, very schools all over, especially and secondary schools, primary schools. Children don't have to walk very far. They are there. Social amenities are available. You see, this Udaya hospital was started during his time. It's just about to be opened officially by President Uhuru Kenyatta. And we are very, very, very hopeful that he will be available to open it. So, mention any sector, Kibaki name will just crop, just like that. Will crop up just like that in the sector. So people in Udaya will remember. And it will take a long time to get somebody who will go into his shoes as far as Udaya constituency is concerned. I don't foresee. I don't say it will never happen, but it may happen, but it may take some time. It's not only Udaya who remember Kibaki. Kenya, the whole of Kenya, all Kenyans will remember Kibaki his time. Especially those who are there, not the young people, but people of our age, and even who are a little bit younger than us, who always remember Kibaki, those who were there when he was at the State House.
Gatuyaine village, a small shopping center with a few buildings, remembers Kibaki as a man who rose from the ashes to become Kenya's president and a world-renowned, respected leader.
History shall be written by historians.
When the history of Kenya's third president, Emilio Mwai Kibaki, is written down, this small and nondescript shopping center by the name Gatuyaine will never be forgotten. Gatuyaine village gave Kenya its third president. Mwangi Maina, TV 47 from Gatuyaine shopping center in Udaya constituency, Nyeri County.